Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's video. My name is chakrasaurattv and welcome one and all. So this is actually a little bit of a different video, right? Because I'm actually talking about the next patch, the next update that's going to be coming into Dead by Daylight. That is 7.6.0. For those of you who do not know, the new killer is coming out, also known as the Unknown, as well as the new survivor, Sable Ward, and a new map as well that's going to be coming out. So lots of changes, lots of good changes to some of the killers that we are familiar with. Pig, Huntress, Demogorgon, Hag. They're all getting new updates with it. So it's a lot to talk about, a lot to digress. I just kind of wanted to give my opinion, just kind of what I think about these updates that are coming in, and just kind of go forward from there. So let's get right into this, guys. So first things first, new perk type, Invocation. Oh boy. So I like this in the sense that it's good. It's a good payoff. It brings a lot more into what the basement can offer. So, you know, a lot of people avoid the basement. The only time that you actually go into the basement is when you start getting into, like, you just want the chest for a clutch med kit when you try to leave the exit gate. Perks like Territorial Imperative, they're pretty freaking useless. And so a lot of people are actually like, this is a good inclusion to have with like the basement, and it brings in survivors into this, and I'm actually excited to see what this does with this. Like, this is actually like a good introduction with it. So with Sable Ward coming in, being the new survivor who also knows Michaela, cool. Seance circles, by the way, which makes sense with this perk, Invocation, Weaving Spiders. When in the basement near the circle, press the ability button to begin the invocation. I'm not going to take too much time reading the perks. You can actually read it on screen, pause the video as needed. But this is good. This actually, you can have, like, you bring the perk, survivors can join you, and in a sense, you get broken, which you can pair that with No Mither, you can pair that with Resilience. You can have a plan in place right off the jump. Pair these with proper perks. So Weaving Spiders, you can, I mean, bring No Mither, maybe to have like a budget Iron Will, or maybe even bring Iron Will itself. Resilience, I can see a lot of potential happening with this. And all generators gaining 15 charges, which I'm not too sure what that equates at the top of my head. That's maybe like, what, 10, 15, 20%. I'm not too sure exactly how much that is. But at the same time, that still is progress on all the gens. A lot of pressure on the killer right off the jump. However, how much pressure? I feel like the payoff of becoming permanently broken may not outweigh, maybe if you pair it with proper perks. I can see this being some form of a drop off, especially like if it's just one person. I could see it not being, you know, too terribly bad. It could also come in clutch. Say that you actually pull off the Seance circle and you need that just little bit of boost, maybe even like 99 in gens. You can do that to 1, 2, 3 killers. You do the Seance circle, boom, 3 gens are done just like that. Wow, that's actually kind of a good way to think about that. That's a good strategy. So Strength in Shadows. When in the basement, this perk activate. So I'm noticing a trend here. So basement, basement, basement. When you are in the basement. So we're actually including the basement in a lot of these perks. So unlock the Strength in Shadows ability, which allows you to heal without a med kit, 60% normal healing speed. Pair that with self-care. Whenever you finish a heal in the basement, you see the killer's aura for 6, 8, 10 seconds. Okay, that's actually not bad. The only kicker is that obviously it's pretty much like self-care with a little bit extra. Now, if you pair this with self-care, is it that 95% speed? Because self-care is 35%. Is it the 95% speed? Maybe. Pair that with botany knowledge. Does that also have with that? Well, botany knowledge doesn't actually heal without a med kit anymore, so what am I saying? So weird. Like, it's actually kind of ties a little bit into that. It kind of gives that a little bit of a reasoning to actually run self-care, because if you do get hit, you can immediately run down here, rub yourself real quick, and just call it good. But at the same time, the medkit does the same thing. Wicked sick. So I'm not too sure what this means. The PTB features an older version of the perk, which has since been replaced. The effects listed below are how the perk functions on the PTB, but this effect will be changed before the update goes live. Okay, so this perk starts with 1 token up to a maximum of 5 tokens. For each token, you recover from Mangled 20% faster. Oh, because they changed Mangled up, that's right. And then for each 15 seconds you spend in the basement, you gain 1 token. While affected by the curse status effect, I'm not too sure what the cursed status effect is, probably with the new killer, you heal 8, 9, 10% faster. Interesting. And now we move on to, hold on, let's go back to this. Wicked, okay, cool. I mean, you spend time in the basement for 15, 30. So a little over a minute to get 5 tokens. To recover from mangled, 20% faster? I don't know about that. Like, I can understand it being like, it's very situational perk. I can see this being used for like an anti-heal like build, like if you're going up against Doctor or Clown or any other killers that rely on anti-heal. I've seen Chucky actually run it recently. That's actually really good on his part to have that, but I don't see this actually being that useful of a perk overall. But I can see this maybe being paired with certain perks and certain builds in certain scenarios to avoid that overall. Maybe even paired with Strength and Shadows. That could also help, because healing, you heal 8, 9, 10% faster. Does that mean you get healed or you do the healing 10% faster when you are affected by this cursed status effect? So now we move on to the killer, the unknown. So, killer power. Press the power button to charge UVX. I don't know what that is. Once ready, press the attack button to launch UVX, a bouncing projectile which creates a blast area upon impact. Survivors become hindered if touched by UVX while airborne. Survivors touching the blast area becomes weakened. Weakened survivor lose health states if touched by blast area. Survivors lose weakened by successfully staring down the unknown, which comes the hallucinations. The unknown is intermittently create hallucinations. Wow, I can speak. Hallucinations cannot be created while charging UVX, performing interactions, or in proximity to map objects like hooks. Whenever survivors are touched by blast area, I like the English here, or otherwise become weakened, the next hallucination spawn's time decreases by 10 seconds. So it's kind of like a snowballing killer, if that makes sense. When survivors are touched by blast area, I mean, obviously there's a way to potentially maybe heal from this, I would assume. Maybe I could be just thinking of this wrong, but maybe there's a way to like slow that process down or revert it back to its normal state, because if 4 survivors are affected by this, that's a lot of like time cut down for the killer's ability. So that's actually kind of exciting. This is also a new way to play this killer. So, special ability, teleport. The unknown can teleport into hallucinations, leaving behind a temporary decoy. Survivors can remove hallucinations from the trial with the dispel ability. Okay, there you go. Weakened survivors take longer to dispel. If dispel is not completed, survivors become weakened and trigger killer instinct. Okay. That's actually literally what I was just talking about. There it is. There's the way to actually get rid of that, to dispel it. Hallucinations, they cut down in time. This is kind of like, I can see this being a hybrid of like decoy. So I guess this is a little bit like oh my goodness, what is that killer's name? I'm drawing a blank. So dredge a little bit, because obviously with the more that you get, the more that people bleed, the more people are injured, the more that their power affects, the more that they get their power. This is kind of like that, but just the more that they're affected by hallucinations, the more that they actually get cut down. I do like this ability. I need to see this in firsthand though, and maybe see how well this actually pairs well. So this is awesome. So now we move on to perks, which I actually didn't read them fully, but one thing I did like is they all start with U: unbound, unforeseen, and undone. Like rules. Like this is actually a unique killer, I feel. The unknown starts with the U. Unbound, unforeseen, undone. The unknown. That's cool. I like that. That's actually a really, really cool way to go about this killer. This killer is new. It's unique. Something that, they obviously spent a lot of time on. So I see this being a very, very cool area, or like a cool killer to kind of dive into. And obviously the backstory of this killer is going to be absolutely fantastic. So looking forward to that. And Unbound, starting with the perks. So this perk activates for 24, 27, 30 seconds after a survivor becomes injured by any means. After vaulting a window, you gain 5% haste for 10 seconds. This effect cannot stack with itself. Interesting. So makes sense that if you say injure 2 survivors, obviously you don't get 10% haste for 20 seconds. You don't get that. So you get that, but I can see this being immediately paired. Bamboozle, Awaken Awareness, good for killers like Michael, chase-oriented killers, maybe even Trapper. I can see this even being paired with like killers that you wouldn't expect, right? So you injure a survivor by any means, and then you vault a window right after. This could actually work well with really any killer I can see, because like, or killers that you wouldn't expect, because 5% haste goes a long way for killers like Hag or Huntress, or, well, not Deathslinger anymore, or Trickster anymore, but killers that are slow, or Hag, for example. This is a great perk for Hag. So you injure somebody by any means, then you vault a window, and then you gain 5% haste right after. Or hell, even like I could say Clown. I know I reference Clown a lot. That would be really good. Wraith, he has a Vault Master, so 5% haste is just adding on to what they can already do. That's amazing. So Vault Master Michael, you just got yourself another perk. That's awesome. Unforeseen. When you perform the break action on a generator, your tear radius transfers to the generator for 30 seconds, and its radius is set to 32 meters. You know what I just thought of? A Huntress Lullaby on the generator. That's good though. So you're thinking like Dark Devotion, but on a gen. So the perk goes on cooldown for 30 seconds. You can't get rid of that. So you kick a gen, it transfers to the gen for 32 meters. Obviously, you lose the terror radius, but it's just one of those that this Unforeseen could be a very good perk. Especially you pair that with Pop, undetectable for 30 seconds. Dude, like, that can be a very good stealth perk. Immediately, you pair that with Pop, you pair that with, you know, Overcharge, like gen kicking. You just gave it like a whole new meaning of how to kick gens, pretty much. So that is, I could see this being good for gen kicking. Obviously, that being a big meta. A lot of people are running anything gen kicking or go fuck your gen. People are running that a lot. It's been the meta since Skull Merchant, right? Chess Merchant. You can even go as far as say Knight was also the one that started the 3-gen meta. Skull Merchant just made it worse. But this, I mean, obviously this could be interesting for playstyles that revolve around stealth, and also as well as kicking gens. Obviously, you can pair this with Pop. You can pair this with like Overcharge, like I was mentioning. You can even pair this with some other perks with that as well when it comes to gen regression. A lot you can do with this. Unforeseen, I can see being a very, very good perk paired with anything that revolves around gen regression. So, last but not least, we have Undone. So, when a survivor misses a healing or repair skill check, gain 3 tokens, up to a maximum of 18, 24, and 30 tokens. Hold on. Let's continue reading. When you perform the break action on generator, if you have any tokens, consume all of them. For each token consumed, the generator loses 1% total progress and then becomes blocked for 1 second. I'm assuming equating to the tokens. Holy cow. Then once the generator is unblocked, it starts regressing. This perk goes on cooldown for 60 seconds. Okay. Wow. Holy cow. Okay, that's kind of a clutch perk. Let's tone it down a little bit. So, Impossible Skill Check Doctor. That's immediately who I'm thinking about, which we're going to talk about Doctor here soon. Impossible Skill Check Doctor. You miss a shit ton of skill checks anyway, because Choleraphobia or Huntress Lullaby, etc. Pair this with Undone, you know, fuck your gen. You pair this with Unforeseen. You don't know when I'm coming. But at the same time, you know, you have to rely on tear rays anyway. So Wesker, I can see this being good on Wesker too, because he has a bigger tear radius. If he has like Distressing or with Choleraphobia, so anti-heal Wesker could also work that out as well. But that's huge, and that's literally at any time. Like survivors, if they miss any skill checks, like whether it be, hold on, healing or repairing. Okay, so it's not wiggle, because if it was wiggle, because people sometimes just, they're like, oh, I give up, so I'm just gonna not wiggle. Okay, hold it for a little bit. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Okay, now I'm gonna hook you. So now you have 30% kick. Pair that with Pop, and you block the gen. Holy cow! Like that's a lot. That is a lot of potential to, oh, you have a gen that's like at 95%, 30% down to 65, plus Pop, which is an extra 20%. I don't run Pop often because fuck the meta. So 30% plus the 20 or 25% from Pop, plus Overcharge, which regresses at 200 or 300% faster, or you can even run freaking Call of Brine. Huh. Fuck your gen. I can see this already being built. Like, people are already thinking of this and like, what could be good with it? Boom, 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 boom. Or hell, Grim Embrace. Actually, it probably would not be good with Grim Embrace. You would either have to run Undone or Grim Embrace, or Undone, you have it snowball because you have Grim Embrace. You go after all 4 survivors. Grim Embrace is good, and then anytime, it's like Pop when you have like no pain res, or or Ruin breaks. Then you have Unbound. I saw my like I froze there. So you have Pop, and then you have. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, there's a lot that you could do with this perk. There's a lot that you can do with this perk. I'm excited. Like, there's a lot of potential with this. There's a lot of potential with this. Unbound, Vaultmaster, Unforeseen, Stealth, and Undone, kick gen. What more can you ask for? Like, this is actually, like, super, super, super good when it comes to... That's amazing. Like, that's actually really freaking cool how they thought about that. So, Mangled update. So, Mangled update until now has required survivors to heal in order to remove this effect, while also slowing down healing speeds. To create more meaningful player choice, we'll be adding a timer to every source of Mangled in the game, allowing players to choose to heal through it or wait it out. I did hear about that. The timer, it's okay. You know, I kind of get that. You know, that's actually not bad because, you know, Sloppy is pretty powerful for anti-heal. Like, it's probably one of the best anti-heal that you can have. Obviously, some of these perks, some of the add-ons, Gift of Pain, Blood Echo, Sloppy Butcher, I mean, all of these are going to get... this is kind of a nerf for all 3 of these, technically, with this timer. But at the same time, is it, though? Because people already healed through it anyway. And the thing is that the time with it, you have perks that just completely counteract the fact of Sloppy or Blood Echo or whatever. You have all those, you have perks like We'll Make It or Desperate Measures. Like, those 2 perks, if you pair them together, that's really freaking good. So I could say this like, okay, cool. How long is the timer though? Like a minute? Do you want to wait that out? Or, you know, you compare it with Resilience. It's really not much of a game breaking, oh gosh, this is actually a really... What are we going to do? It's, I guess, more quality of life. Like, you can choose one or the other. Really nothing, like, cool. Like, the timer can be a good thing, but it can also be, like, kind of redundant, you know? So, let me know what you guys think about this. Is the Mangled update, is that good? I actually want to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear you guys' opinions about this whole entire update. This is actually really, really good. So far that I'm reading. So a lot of things that are adding on. Killer updates. I'm excited. There's a lot of things adding on. So let's start with the Blight. Hit these add-ons. Only change Compound 33. Rush cannot be performed more than 3 times. It was 2. Turn rate is increase rush turn rate by 33 and increase rush duration by 33%. So that's a buff. That's a good buff for Blight. It was 2. It's like, okay, great. Like, cool in the sense that, like, Compound 33 has always been a really good add-on, especially because you can run an Adrenaline Vial and you can get your 5 bonks, and then you can still get some benefits from Compound 33 when you run an Adrenaline Vial. It just makes sense to pair those 2, or you can have Compound 33 with Blotted Crow, so you can have that increased speed with rush duration and turn duration, just not with the amount of bonks with it, which is totally fine. So, Clown, I like this. Base Kit. So the Antidote is what they were heavily talking about as being underused, or have to go out of your way and use the bottle in order for you to actually like get something out of it. So the duration's 6 seconds. That's huge, because say like you throw like the new perk. I just Brain Blast, Unbound, 5% haste, throw an Antidote, you get the 5% plus the additional 5% from Afterpiece, and boom, there you go. Like you're sniffing your own pee, as I like to say, because it's yellow. So you sniff your own pee, and then for 2 seconds, because it activates in 2 seconds, you go. Increase the number of bottles by 6. Or 2-6. Clown could have... it doesn't say about nerfing Gym Bottle or Empty Bottle. Clown could have 9 bottles. troublesome. That I can see being. Don't get me wrong, Clown's weak. Clown's one of the weaker killers, obviously. Very. It doesn't make up a lot of ground as some of the faster killers. You know, Spirit, your Hillbillies, your Blights can't make up that much ground. Obviously, he's just 150. That's it. See you later. That is. Or 4.6, excuse me. 4.6 meter killer. That can be troublesome, though. Like, 6 bottles, that's. Less time to reload. 6 bottles, you can have a freaking chase so quickly, and people rely on having 6 bottles anyway with the empty gym bottle. I mean, it just makes sense to have 6 bottles. Base kit, I guess that makes sense. It's a nice buff. It's a nice change to it, and you know, it could also lead to more play styles. Like, I actually run both feathers, like the robin feather and then the yellow feather. I can't think of the name. I run feathers for quick reload, so 90% bottle cooldown, so you can just and just throw bottles like freaking crazy, like you're a maniac. I just do that just for fun. I don't take Clown seriously, but that's awesome. So decrease the visual effect intensity when survivors are affected by the afterbeast tonic. That's good for motion sickness. That's actually quality of life. I like that. So Demogorgon, the puppy got a buff. Decrease shed successful hit cooldown by 2.7 seconds. That's actually like 1 or 2 stacks of save. That's pretty cool. And decrease the pallet break cooldown by 1.8 seconds was 2. So obviously, Barb's Glasses and Mew's Guts, both of them, that was pretty much one of the best pushes you can have for Demogorgon. They pretty much just took both of them and we just made a base kit. Pretty good. So his add-ons, a couple of them did change. So obviously, Blackheart decreases shred hit by 10% was 15, and decrease shred pallet break cooldown by 10% was 15 for Barb's Glasses. So it just makes sense. So they just took the positive out of what those add-ons were, put it into base kit, and just decreased what they did. Not saying that you can't use Barb's Glasses, because 10% is still 10%. That's still really good. Or Blackheart. Both of them are still fantastic. Like, very, very good. That's a good buff for Demogorgon. Very much due. So that's awesome. So the Doctor. So increase shock therapy range by 12 meters. Decrease shock therapy detonation delayed by 0.8 seconds. So people were using, and here's the interesting part. So people relied on range add-ons for a while. Increase it by 2 meters, increase it by 3 meters, or 1 meter. They have a 1 meter, 2 meter, 3 meter for a Doctor for shock therapy. That is huge. Like, that's huge. It's great for chase. 0.8 seconds, it might not be a lot, but that could be a turn, or like going towards a pallet. That could be a difference between vaulting a pallet or not vaulting a pallet, throwing a pallet even. That's huge. 12 meters is also, that's quality of life right there. 1.3 meters may not seem like a lot, but that's good distance. That's a good distance. Plus here's the best part. The best part about this is that reach add-ons weren't affected by this at all. So you have that paired with it. So you can have a potentially, what was it, 2, 3, 5? Yeah. You can have a 17 meter shock therapy range. That's freaking cool, dude. Obviously, Discipline Class 3 and Discipline Carter's Notes, they all get affected by that from 15 from 20, and then 20 from 30. So makes sense. The yellow and the purple add-on, they get dwindled down from it. So the Hag, holy cow. I'm not going to go through all of this, but there is a lot that Hag, because not a lot of people played Hag. Hag's one of the best killers. She's very hard to play, but she's A tier, according to Odstarva, who's obviously God. So increase Phantasm Trap range by Phantasm Trap teleport to 48 was 40. That's huge, because Drakenkata, which is right here, teleport range by 15% was 30. So people relied on that perk because the range is pretty freaking huge. 30% of 40, what is that, like 12 meters ish? I can't do math right now, but that's a lot. That's a lot of range. And the thing is, that's still a big significance. This is a big buff for Hag. Set speed by 0.1 seconds. That's quality of life. The duration 6 seconds from 5. The trigger range is 2.7 was 3. So it's actually they shortened that a little bit for survivors, and it increased the time it takes to wipe away from 4 seconds with 3.5. That's not really much of a change, but it's a good buff for Hag. Obviously, all of her add-ons, you can look at all the add-ons that she has. Obviously, I mean, you could read them. You can pause the video if you would like to just overlook them. There's so much that got reworked for Hag. This is like a small rework for Hag. This is good. I like this. This is huge for her. So the person that I have been playing the most, it's actually been Huntress. So Huntress, pretty small change here. Increase the hatchet count to 7. Now, I've actually been steering away from actually using 8 hatchets or 7 hatchets, because, you know, obviously I want to utilize the hatchets that I have and not have to become more add-on reliant when it comes to it. So 7 infantry belt. Why didn't that get changed? Why did that not get changed? That, you're telling me that Huntress could run around with 10 hatchets with the same effects as Babushka and as Shiny Pin? Are you kidding me? That is holy shit. So obviously Babushka and Shiny Pin, they got reworked. They have to be, they got decreased that, but you got to think of it this way though. Holding a hatchet for 3.5 meters a second. 3.6 is normal killer speed. She's almost at normal killer speed when throwing a hatchet. Pair that with Shiny Pin, she's faster than a normal killer speed. Decrease the Huntress hatchet's wind-up speed to 0.9 seconds. That is pretty significant, because obviously the wind-up speed, she needs that little bit of like like obviously like a little bit quicker. That's huge. And the thing is, you can have Babushka to decrease that to like 7 point something percent. Like that's fucking quick. 7 fucking hatchets. She could have 10 hatchets. So you don't have to rely on Iron Maiden, or I'd like to run Iron Maiden. I'm a high Iron Maiden gamer for Huntress. 100% 10% till the day I die. Plus run Deerskin Glove for 20%. Lightning speed. Like, Huntress is getting buffed, and she is so good at, obviously her speed is going to remain the same. She's going to be a 110 killer. It is what it is. But oh my god. Oh my god. That's huge for Huntress, though. That's a dub for Huntress. 7 hatchets. You pretty much just gave free infantry belt. She gets free infantry belt. There you go. People are going to remember the day where 5 was the minimum. But also people remember, you know, Eerie Hatchet infantry belt was the meta. 3 hatchets, Eerie head. There you go. People remember that. And that was apparently a nerf to Huntress. Here we are. She's getting redemption and having 7 hatchets, increased movement speed, and increased wind up. Decreased wind up. Less speed. Now we move on to Pig, which the developers did a very good job at setting this up. We are actually going to do something that's out of the ordinary, and we're going to buff Pig, which she did get a buff. These are very good. A little bit of a caveat though. Let's begin. Base kit. Increase ambush attack duration to 2.3 seconds was 2 seconds. Okay. Increase successful hit to 2.7 was 3. Decrease ambush attack miss cooldown by 1.5. Increase the pig's movement speed while crouched to 3.8 meters per second was 3.6. Decrease the time it takes the pig to crouch to 1 second was 1.3. Increase the reverse bear times traps to 180 was 150. Uh-oh. Remove the pig's ability to see jigsaw boxes. Oh. And then blood points for dashing and putting on bear traps. So, let's tone it down a little bit, right? Tone it down a little bit. Let's kick it back a notch. So, this is, I think, what they are trying to do for Pig, for my girl Amanda. So what they are doing is they are pretty much making her more chase oriented, utilizing her ambush a lot more in chases or to sneak up on people, using her base kit undetectable, and using that instead of giving killers side quests or giving survivors side quests. That's what's happening. So they're pretty much saying, hey, we get it. Crate of Gears, Tamper Timer. You're good. You're at least going to be getting at least a kill or 2 from it. We get it. We're gonna try to make it to where you're gonna be not reliant on Pig's traps, which it's part of her power. Obviously, you want to rely on that a little bit more and just kind of go from that. But now you're making it to where the survivors are going to go and they're going to be doing jigsaw boxes, whether you know it or not. You're not going to be camping at them. You're not going to be like crouch camping them and just kind of going from there, because it makes sense. Obviously, if you find them, then just keep a mental note and just kind of go from there. And maybe this will be like, oh yeah, we're gonna just include this in like an add-on, or like an eerie add-on, like Amanda's tape or something like that, or like Amanda's letter. Okay, cool, great. That's cool. So what I've kind of got is that tone it down on the or the reliance of the reverse bear traps, and to rely on crouching, you're undetectable, and make it more chase oriented. I'm actually kind of okay with this. For Pig, it actually makes it a lot. It makes her just a pretty good, like, it makes her pretty strong. Obviously, the reverse bear traps and just kind of diminishing that just a little bit of the, maybe use it more strategically instead of just, you're down for the first time, here's a bear trap, fuck you. But at the same time, more strategically may not actually be a bad thing, and just maybe placing it around there. But at the same time, maybe just keep it the same strategy may not be a bad thing. So just because a lot of these killer updates, a lot of these buffs, and a lot of, you know, potential debuffs, obviously, or nerfs, they're good. Most of the time they are good. This is actually no different with that. So this is awesome in that sense. So obviously, Shattered Syringe, anything that it features, you know, add-ons with crouch speed, ambush speed, etc. They got nerfed into oblivion. You can read that if you want to. Ooh. Increase ambush attack charge speed by 50%? Workshop Greases actually looks kind of good. And then the attack miss cooldown by 10%. Wow. Okay. Chase Pig. Alright. That's cool. Let's see. Copyright music, UX, all that good stuff, and obviously some miscellaneous bug fixes and all that good stuff, which you can actually read. I'll make sure to leave the forums. If you have not checked this out yourself, you can actually look up on the forums right now, or on Reddit, whichever feels comfortable for you to look through and check out the patch notes. So overall, what do I think about this patch? This patch is fantastic. Lots and lots and lots of good stuff that's coming from this. New perk type, new killer, new survivor that knows Michaela. Obviously, perks that are going to shake up the meta. Obviously, it comes with every single patch. That's awesome. Killer buffs, needed buffs. That's fantastic. Like, I'm actually okay with this. This is really cool. Lots going to be happening too. Because there's a lot. There's still a lot to this. There's a lot to this update, from killer buffs, couple killer nerfs to add-ons, but they made it base kit. New maps going to be coming out, which I'm excited to play. A lot of good stuff, and a lot of really good things coming in. So with that being said, I really do appreciate each of you guys for being here, watching this video, just kind of hearing my opinion on it. Again, it's my first time actually doing something like this. Would you guys like to see this more in the future? I would actually like to hear your opinion. What do you guys think of this update? Is there something they could have added? Is there something that they should have not even touched in the first place? I actually want to hear your guys' opinions on this. And if you guys like to see this more often, or if you want to see this sometimes down the line, if for each update or when the PTP comes out, I'd be more than happy to discuss my opinion and kind of go through this and dissect it. This is kind of something new for the channel. I would like to hear your guys' opinion. So with that being said, I wish you all a great rest of your day or evening or night, and I appreciate you guys being here. So take care, guys.